Good morning, everyone. This is the regular board meeting, December 19th, 2025. The board did meet in executive session. Legal matters and personnel matters were discussed. So we'll start the meeting with the roll call.
Mr. Schuley,
Here.
Ms. Strasburger,
Here.
Ms. Leber, Mr. Domock,
Here.
Ms. McCormick-Barron,
Here.
Mr. Bay,
Here.
Ms. Leach, Mr. Fishbach.
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Are there any speakers for public comment? Okay, please come to the microphone.
You don't mind, I'm gonna sit my knees, have knee problems.
Okay, no problem.
My name is Brad Hankney. My spouse and I live on Eckerd Street in Marshall Shade. Our community is part of the Woods Run watershed, the same watershed of the recent stormwater management project your CEO, Mr. Pickering, boasts of. We live close to a road construction, storage, processing, and transfer station. It is run by the PWSA lead line replacement contractor, Independent Enterprises Incorporated. The site is located directly in the center of Woods Run watershed, not far from the Ohio River. Concerning materials stored there include excavating debris from his lead line replacement work, shell and gravel for his construction work, and an unsecured fuel tank. Triaxles routinely haul gravel in and out. Gravel contains crystalline silicate dust, which is an EPA-identified hazardous material. Loading and unloading triaxles is followed by a dust cloud that disperses into our neighborhood. It's also hazardous to our breath and to our water supplies. There are loaders for moving materials and unloading trucks and a crane-like machine used for sifting and separating the hazardous excavating debris that he's hauling into this residential site. The crane sifts by slamming the bucket back and forth to remove the fine particles. Not only does it create dust, when he slams that bucket, it creates an explosion-like noise that startles us each and every time. This operation is going on residential property and is ongoing without regard to ordinances, laws, safety, environmental concerns, or basic common decency to the neighborhood. He has shown total disregard for our neighborhood and the residents who live here. The trucks, loaders, and cranes usually operate all day long. Often the trucks slam their beds to loosen stuck material. When they slam their bed, another explosion-like noise occurs. They're comparable to explosions of dynamite or fireworks, and they startle not only me, nearby residents. And it doesn't just occur once or twice a day. This is all day long. The volume of the noise he creates should not be tolerated anywhere. The dust created on this site covers our cars, homes, and fills our lungs in the dry weather. In wet conditions, it fills our sidewalks, streets, and either way, it ultimately ends up in our streams. The sediment running off this site is an environmental hazard in its own right. Because it is from lead line work and shell dust, it is especially concerning. I'm asking you to terminate your contracts with Independent Enterprises due to this environmental negligence, conduct an environmental impact inspection at the sites that he's contaminated, require him to clean up the damage he has done. I would also like you to include strict environmental compliance requirements in any future contracts due to irresponsible behavior like this in our communities from your contractors.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Normally the board does not respond other than to refer these matters to staff, but we are aware of the issues surrounding Independent's work and accordingly have issued a stop work order. We continue to investigate and monitor this situation together with various regular agencies. Thank you. We have any other speakers?
Hi, I know most of you. I am Annie Quinn. I am the director of an organization called the Mon Water Project. We're a community-based advocacy group that is built around the 4 Mile Run Stormwater Project, which historically, at this very board meeting, in an executive session last year, that project was canceled. In a similar amount of transparency, I am not sure what and how to advocate today about the budget of Pittsburgh Water moving forward for their capital investments. I am able to look at the budget that was passed last year, and it is a horrifying disregard for stormwater. So my hope is today, as the board is evaluating the capital budget that I have not seen, the public has not seen, I'm not able to review and understand. I'm not able to come and celebrate brand new investments in important projects because there is a lack of transparency around how Pittsburgh Water is prioritizing projects around stormwater. And if we're to go off the 2025 to 2029 budget, Oak Ridge canceled, Fowler Park canceled, 4 Mile Run canceled. By the end of the day, you get through your stormwater program and you've zeroed it out by 2029, almost to a ridiculous number, $169,000. The idea is preposterous. I am hoping that as a resident, and sadly, because of the quickness of understanding when and how these budgets are passed, I couldn't bring an army of people. I don't have my council member, but I want you to know they're standing here with me right now, standing here. All of my voice is projecting these opinions into this board meeting. Stormwater is a priority in the city of Pittsburgh. Outside right now, you are experiencing a regulatory failure. It's happening right now. You're polluting the Allegheny River. We all are. That rainstorm was enough for every single overflow in the city to open up. My concern is that if your budget looks like this, you are continuing a failure of investment in one of the most possible hazards this city will experience as a result of climate change. We are failing to become a climate resilient city because we're not addressing the very thing that will do us the most harm over and over and over and over again. I noticed that Negley Run wasn't even in this budget. Negley Run, people have died. I do not want flooding to occur elsewhere in the city because we have failed to manage our stormwater properly. When I look at your mission statement, and I look at your colors and your goals and the people that I know on this board who I believe this intrinsically are stewards of the land, have ethics and integrity, and are accountable. They're working towards the safety and equity of the citizens. Stormwater must be part of that program. My concern is that you're waiting to find out how the Pittsburgh Water Consent Decree works out. Also, I have never seen it. I've never heard it. I don't even know what's being discussed. I don't even know what Pittsburgh Water is advocating for. What are you fighting for? What are you discussing with the DEP and the EPA and the Department of Justice that you are promising on behalf of citizens like me, ratepayers like me? What are you promising them? What billion-dollar project is going to be a part of that? And if we are sitting waiting for Alcoasand to come build the tunnels, it is a well-known fact that those tunnels were built on modeling data from 2008 that also did not include climate change evaluations. We as the city of Pittsburgh, your entire mission statement, your stormwater strategic plan says that we as a city believe in climate change. So the only way Pittsburgh Water could prove that would to be have understanding of how the tunnels will affect the city and how they also are not the solution for us to solve all of the problems. We have to do the work before the tunnels come. We also are waiting on a solution that won't be put in the ground, certainly in my watershed, till 2036. I can't wait that long. None of us can. We can't pollute the rivers for 10 years because we're holding our breath for Alcoasand's project to finalize. I also want to say that I believe the Pittsburgh Water should immediately host public meetings about the consent decree, what's been discussed, how it's going, where it's going. These types of updates are the transparency that are necessary for you to build that accountability that I rely on as a community partner. I also hope the transparency of the budget process changes. I should know what you guys are deciding. I should know what projects are being eliminated before an email 2 months following, letting me know that not only is my entire organizational basis of existing, but an entire flood control project that $8.7 million were spent on has been eliminated. From now on forward, I also want Pittsburgh Water to place a high emphasis on the bottom part of their capital budget that says other funding sources. There is a line in every single consent agreement that every single other municipality signed in this entire region that says that they have to do, in all due diligence, raise additional funds. Please stop telling me these projects can't be built. Of course they can't be built on our rates alone. They can be built with multiple sources of funding from across our federal and state partners. And you know that because I brought them in the room. They are ready to work with you and put 4 Mile Run parts and pieces in the ground. I just need Pittsburgh Water to agree to be that partner. And I can't do that if we're failing to even evaluate alternative funding sources. We cannot do this alone. We know that our city is financially strapped, but we're also not asking and moving in the right rooms to get the money to do it. We can be aggressive stormwater managers as a city. We just have to be brave enough to go after the funds, to put the projects in our budgets, to design and then construct. We need to move forward. We cannot abandon stormwater. And so I'm hoping, crossing my fingers. I'm crossing my fingers because I'm hoping the capital budget that you all are about to approve, that I don't know what it looks like, doesn't look like last year's.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have any other speakers?
Good morning. I'm John Stephen, Aspinwall resident, PWSA water user and neighbor of the treatment plant, but I'm coming today as a convener of the Negley Run Watershed Task Force, a long-standing collaboration among residents, infrastructure agencies, academics, and professionals. The task force has met consistently since 2017 and was a credible, active partner with Pittsburgh Water during development of the Stormwater Strategic Plan. That plan included a strong framework for community engagement around stormwater and public realm projects. Many of us were prepared to help implement it. However, that engagement has largely stalled, even as a stormwater fee has been enacted. I understand and respect Pittsburgh Water has faced urgent demands, including the aging drinking water infrastructure and accelerated lead service line replacements. Those priorities obviously matter and critical. But the unintended consequence has been a loss of momentum in community engagement, particularly for stormwater and riverfront related projects. One example is the Lock Way project on today's agenda. It clearly is necessary to provide access for the brilliant pump station improvements. But at the same time, I want to highlight the task force in partnership with Pittsburgh Park Conservancy. Previously, that it led a community visioning process for the mouth of Negley Run. While that plan was aspirational, that plan established a long-term direction for this highly visible riverfront location. So I asked Pittsburgh Water to use that community vision as a reference point and actively engage residents and stakeholders as improvements move forward, not only at Lock Way, but throughout the broader ABC project area. And when given the opportunity to make the same request to the other public partners, Alcosan, the city, and the county, who all have interest in that area. Another example, the treatment plant. About 15 years ago, the Friends of the Riverfront negotiated a trails easement with the city to connect Aspinwall Riverfront Park to Chapel Harbor. At the time, public access was expected to follow completion of the infrastructure improvements, so obviously no physical improvements have been made. But it's unclear whether that agreement was ever fully executed with the city. And today, it needs to be revisited as Pittsburgh Water is the landowner and the direct partner on that project. These public realm projects could be a chance for educating the user public about the history and technology that helps Pittsburgh Water supply high-quality drinking water to our taps. So please confirm the status of that engagement and engage regional partners in the public realm improvements of these projects. This matters because these issues are peripheral to the engineering, but they are central to building strong, connected communities who are Pittsburgh Water customers. And expanding equitable public access to the rivers are define this region of three rivers. So finally, while community engagement may not fit neatly into traditional capital budgets and operating budgets, it is essential to project success. So as you consider the budgets, which we wait to see more and learn more about, I urge the board to ensure dedicated funding for community engagement and embed meaningful public involvement into project design and decision-making as a core practice, not as an afterthought. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, John, for your comments. Do we have any other speakers? Okay. If you're online, please identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Carrie Konya. I live at right behind where the first speaker, the construction on the corner of McClure and Eckert Street. The construction it's not really construction, but whatever it is going on. I don't get out a lot. I have my spine's being reconstructed pretty much. Anyway, my backyard is about 100 yards from that site. The noise is unreal all day long. It's unrelenting. The booms. It's like we live next to a tunnel being built. The dirt, my car, black film over it. I mean, it's getting unbearable. The backup beeping on those trucks it's starting to make me a little crazy. I can't think straight. I have to work from home right now. I'm a designer and architect. And I can't think straight with the beeping and the booms. It's constant. It's like right in my backyard, and I can't think straight. The filth. I don't know what else to say that the first man didn't say, but it's got to stop. And I don't know why. The councilman Lavelle had the police down there one day. If me as a citizen made this much noise and ignored orders to stop, I would be arrested. I would have whatever. I don't know what you charge people with that do this and disturb people's lives like this. This is horrible. We shouldn't have to live like this. And for this person to just stick their middle finger up to everybody, I'm ready to gather people and go out to where the owner of this company lives and do stuff outside of his house. I can't take it anymore. And it's not fair to anybody in this neighborhood. And I know there's other people in this neighborhood that have a problem that might not be able to speak today. But I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say. There's not much to say that the first man didn't say, other than the backup beeping and the big, huge trucks blocking Eckert. I have to go down Geyer and turn right onto Eckert to go onto Beaver to leave where I have to go to the doctor. And sometimes I have to wait. These trucks, they don't want to move. They're blocking that. They're like that. Like they own that part of Eckert right there. It's bad enough we have to deal with Hollywood all the time, blocking that off. Now we have this every day on the weekends till 6 o'clock at night sometimes, and it's unrelenting. It's got to stop. I don't know what you have to do to shut it down, but it needs to be shut down. I'm sorry I wasn't more organized in my speech. I was, quick. I did this last minute, and like I said, there's not much I can say that I didn't say, and the first man said it so eloquently. Thank you for letting me speak. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry.
All right. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. You have a great day.
Thank you. You too. All right. We moved to
Thanks.
the approval. I'm sorry. Do we have someone else? No other speakers?
I have been asked to read a statement from a speaker who
Okay,
couldn't
sure.
attend,
Go ahead.
Chair Shuley. So we received a request to speak at the board meeting, but like I mentioned, the speaker indicated they would be unable to attend in person. So as a courtesy, since they weren't able to attend, I'm going to read the public comment from this individual named Aaron Birdie, who has disclosed their address is 1847 Chislett Street. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend in person to give testimony. I have comments in regards to agenda item number 117 of the 2025 on the agenda. The consolidation of two private railroad crossings on Lockway into one public crossing should involve community input. The Negley Run Watershed Task Force's 2018 vision plan for the Negley Run watershed identified this area as an opportunity for improved riverfront access for recreation. The county's Brilliant Line Trail project will also bring increased recreation through this area, and there is potential to make connections from the Brilliant Line to other amenities close by, such as the Pittsburgh Zoo and Highland Park. How will the community visions and public comment be incorporated into this project and the Brecken Pump Station project as a whole? Those conclude their remarks.
Okay, thank you, Will. Any others? Okay, we're good to go. All right, the next part of the agenda here is the approval of the meeting minutes of November 21st, 2025. May I have a motion? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes of November 21st, 2025, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed?
Aye.
I will abstain as I was not present.
Thank you. All right. I think we have a quorum for approval of those meeting minutes.
We do.
Next we have the CEO approvals. All CEO approvals from the prior month are approved. And we move to reports and updates. We start with the Finance Department. Mr. Barca.
Morning, everyone. Happy holidays.
Same to you.
Included in your board packet is the finance report as of November 30th, 2025. Within the report, you'll see that total receipts through the end of November total $218.5 million. That represents about 91.2% of the budget for the year. In November specifically, Pittsburgh Water collected $16.5 million, which is about $822,000 more than the budget amount for that month. And year-end receipts are projected to be $247.4 million, which is about $7.7 million or 3.2% above the budget for the year. Departmental operating expenses through the end of November totaled $118.5 million, which represents about 91.1% of the budget for the year. And capital expenditures through that same period totaled $172 million, with year-end capital expenditures projected to be $214.2 million. $87.1 million in debt service costs have been paid through the end of November, and forecasted year-end debt service is projected to be $88.6 million, which is about $5.1 million lower than the budget for the year. And with that, this concludes my report for today. I will turn it back over for any questions. Thank you.
All right, do we have any questions or comments for Ed? Would you like to predict what we're going to end up with in the year here in terms of our financial picture?
Overall, as a broad brush, our revenues are coming in a little bit stronger than we predicted. And likewise, we're making adjustments to our expenses to accommodate for that. If I had to just give you a general synopsis, we're pretty much right on target for what we projected for the year. And a lot of that goes to the team that I work, that works for me, and they're a good job of really working with departments and others to make sure that happens.
All right. Thank you, Ed. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Engineering Department report. Rachel?
Good morning, Chair Shuley, members of the board. I do have some slides. This month, I'd like to start by highlighting our small diameter water main replacement program. This is one of our largest programs. And these contracts involve the strategic replacement of our water mains to improve system reliability. and improve water pressure, maintain quality, and minimize disturbance as best we can to the community. This program began in 2018 with contracts being awarded annually. We have received Penvest funding in the amount of $23.5 million in grants and $255 million in low interest loans for the 2021 through 2024 program years. Next slide, please. Thank you. The 2023 small diameter water main replacement program includes 9.8 miles of replacement and 1582 service line replacements. Since this began construction in this past June, we've replaced so far 6.8 miles of water mains and 651 service lines, including 206 public and 154 private lead service lines. This work has occurred in the neighborhoods of Brighton Heights, Point Breeze North, Lower Lawrenceville, and Squirrel Hill. Remaining work in these neighborhoods, along with work planned in Bloomfield, will be completed by the beginning of July, with final restoration completed by August at the latest. Construction for the 2024 small diameter water main replacement program will begin in April of 2026 and includes the replacement of 11 miles of water mains and 1607 service lines, including an estimated 562 public and 482 private lead service lines. Of the $93 million total cost of this program, $78 million of that will be paid through Penvest grants and low interest loans. And this work will take place in Elliott, Crafton Heights, West End, Troy Hill, Hazelwood, Southside Flats, and Southside Slopes. The 2025 small diameter main replacement program is currently in final design. Construction is anticipated to begin in late 2026 and includes the replacement of 2.9 miles of water mains and 564 service lines. Next, thank you. For context, there are approximately 850 miles of small diameter, which is 12-inch and smaller water mains in our distribution system. This program has been closely coordinated with our lead service line replacement, aka LSLR program, to meet our goal of replacing all residential service lines in our area by 2027. There's an LSLR prioritization model, which is used to help screen potential neighborhoods based on the concentration of children and women of childbearing age, high blood lead levels, a high concentration of lead lines, and income level. Next slide. Selection of water mains for replacement within a neighborhood is currently based on 3 primary factors: the estimated number of lead and unknown service lines per mile, water main break frequency, and areas of known low fire flow. Next slide. Every water main segment in our area is assigned a score by a web application that was developed in-house by our staff. Project locations are chosen by staff using this tool as a guide. Our GIS department recently added a utility coordination layer to our application showing anticipated work by other utilities. We do use this information as well as the city's planned paving projects when that data becomes available as part of our project selection process. And the next few slides just have some photos, recent photos of the work. The photo on the left here was taken just a couple weeks ago. This is in Lower Lawrenceville, performing exploratory exploration. And the photo on the right is on Wilkins Avenue, also doing Vector truck excavation for a main line. Next slide. On the left, again, is on Wilkins Avenue doing exploratory excavation. And on the right is on Squirrel Hill Avenue doing a service line replacement. Photo on the left is Inverness Avenue in Squirrel Hill. And on the right is North Dallas and Thomas in Point Breeze North doing mainline work on the right, service line on the left. And then also Wilkins and Squirrel Hill on the left doing mainline work. And on the right is also in Squirrel Hill. That is the end of my slide. So moving on with an update on our Southside Flats sewer separation project. This project is approximately 80 to 85% complete. Remaining contract work includes stormline installation on South 18th and stormline installation on Sydney. We're targeting mid-February 2026 to have all the remaining work completed on this project. Final restoration will occur across all project areas in the spring of 2026. Currently, we are performing temporary surface restoration on the impacted areas of Fox Way and continuing new storm line installation on South 18th Street from Sydney to East Carson. A brief update on our lead service line replacement program. A total of 13,941 public and 10,527 private side lead service lines have been replaced through December 18th. We currently have 8 active construction contracts that involve lead service line replacements. These are a combination of the small diameter water main projects that I noted earlier, neighborhood lead service line projects, and urgent lead contracts. The work includes verification to identify the material of the service line, the actual lead service line replacements, water main replacements, and the restoration of pavement and landscaping. Finally, the following projects are currently out for construction bid. 2026 surface restoration, bids are due January 8th. Construction management and construction inspection for 2026 surface restoration, bids are due January 13th. QA/QC services for 2024 small diameter water main replacement, bids are due January 13th. And 2023 small diameter water main contract A2, 2024 small diameter water main contract B, 2024 small diameter water main contract C. Bids for these 3 contracts are due January 20th, 21st, and 22nd, respectively. This concludes my report. I'll turn it over for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, questions and comments for Rachel? Go ahead, Megan.
Thanks, Rachel, for that report. Congratulations on kind of being ahead of your target for lead service line replacement for this year. It's really impressive. I was wondering if you all do any analyses on kind of the per project or per linear foot of these replacements and how that drives your decisions for budgeting and prioritization as well.
Yes, we do have a sense of general cost, overall cost per linear foot. It does vary quite a bit by location. Quite a bit of our cost, frankly, is driven by restoration. The city does have some pretty stringent restoration requirements, but that's not all of it, but that is a big piece of it. So our budget program is driven by a lot of different factors and prioritization, including different aspects that go into the prioritization of any different project. The small diameter water main replacement program, as I mentioned, is a pretty big part of our budget. It's closely coordinated again with lead. So some of our prioritization is based on the lead service lines that we anticipate in different areas, but hopefully that answers your question a little bit. And
yeah, thanks. I mean, I think it's interesting since you've been working so much on this, it might be, if there's efficiencies that are being gained, people are getting, the teams are getting more efficient, the contractors are getting more efficient at their work because they have so much experience at this time.
I definitely think that's happening. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Jamil?
Rachel, as important as these projects are, we're investing in infrastructure reconstruction in an old city, to some of the comments and concerns of residents, it's inherently disruptive. We're a densely built city and we have heavy equipment. What can we do, or how can we improve this process to limit the disruption for neighbors and residents?
Absolutely. Yes. One of the things that we can probably do better is communicating more in advance of what can be expected. We're talking about that internally. We do have communications in place to try to notify residents with door hangers and such. But we are going to try to we're looking at that to see if we can be more proactive and communicating better. These are the timelines. This is what you can expect for restoration. This restoration is probably not going to happen right now. It's going to be happening in the spring. In the meantime, we can make sure that our sites are at least being cleaned up and tidy. That is something that we are emphasizing more. As Alex mentioned, we have issued a stop work order to this particular contract that our speakers spoke about today. So, we are, of course, holding them to their requirements in the contracts, that they follow the regulations. And if they don't, then we are taking action. So you're right. It's tight. It's very crowded. It's not easy for for our residents, for sure.
Go ahead, Erica.
Has this contractor, Independent Enterprises, does it have contracts? Do we have contracts with that particular contractor for other projects? And do they often bid on Pittsburgh water contracts?
Yes, we have many contracts with them. I believe we have roughly 16, 17, 18 active contracts with them. They bid often on our work. They do tend to be the low bidder. They have been working in the city for decades. And this is kind of their area of expertise, if you will, or they feel it's their area of expertise. However, of course, we do expect them to follow regulations. So we have work in the millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, actually, with Independent Enterprises.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I'll just speak for myself in saying I'm disappointed to hear what the public commenters have said about this, despite a stop work order by this entity, that they continue, and just to hear the personal kind of experiences from nearby homeowners. It's disappointing that a contractor that we would put faith in and expect to follow procedure is behaving this way. So I will remember that as a board member. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jordan, sorry.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Just one quick question. So you mentioned the lead service line replacements. I'm curious, what are the circumstances for non-lead service line replacements when you're doing the small water mains? What is it, just breaks, or are there other circumstances that factor into a line replacement?
I'm sorry, can you say that for non-lead?
Yeah, for non-lead service line replacements.
So when we replace a water main, regardless of whether the service line is lead or not, we would replace our portion of the service line from the main to the right of way. So those service lines are being replaced as part of those projects as well.
Understood. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Well, Rachel, we always appreciate your slides, and we certainly get a sense of the complexity and the challenges out there. Want the general public to know that the capital program over the next 5 years exceeds $1 billion, and so we have many contracts, many challenges. I commend your organization for trying to handle this as best we can. But as we know, as Jamil points out, with this construction, there are some things that come up and that we have to address them. But I think that the fact that this agency has taken the stand on with these contractors, despite the fact that they have a lot of work with Pittsburgh Water, I think it's important for the public to know, and that we will take that into consideration if there are other things that we can do in the future that will help us in managing these projects. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we move to Chief Operations and Environmental Compliance Officer report. Mr. Saderi.
Here I come. Good morning, everyone. So one of the functions of our Environmental Compliance Department is to help prepare and submit required reporting for our compliance with environmental permits and regulations. So in addition to a bunch of the monthly reports and inspections we do, beginning each year, it's always a busy time for our group. So we have a number of annual and semi-annual reports that are due between January and March each year. The Environmental Compliance Group has already been working to prepare for these report submittals, which will begin in 2026 after we return from the holidays. Some of these reports I wanted to share with you so that you understand what we are submitting on. First is an NPDES stormwater report. This is our annual report submitted to DEP on the status of our industrial stormwater permit, which is for our water treatment plant, our Brilliant pump station, as well as our Highland and Lanford reservoirs. We also have an NPDES CSO status report. This is the annual report submitted to DEP. It documents our combined sewer overflow occurrences and the associated operation and maintenance activities. SMCR, which stands for the Self-Monitoring Compliance Reports, these are annual and semi-annual reports that we submit to ELCASAN. They summarize our industrial wastewater discharges from Pittsburgh water infrastructure to their system. This year, the reports are submitted for permits that we have associated with our water treatment plant, our Vector pit for sewer and catch basin cleaning debris over our Howard Yard, as well as our Brecken pump station. Next is our waste load report. This is an annual report, and so it's waste load. It's associated with our combined sewer system, and it's submitted to both Penn Hills as well as ELCASAN because they discharge through our sewer system, and they need to then report that information on to DEP in their annual reports. Moving over to air, we have two, our air quality report. This is a semi-annual report that we submit to the Allegheny County Health Department on maintenance and operation of our gas-fired boilers and engine-driven generators that are located at our water treatment plant and Brecken pump station. These engines supply heat for our facilities, as well as emergency power or pumping if needed. And there's also an air quality certification, which is an annual report. Again, we submit to the health department. This provides certification on our boilers and engine-driven generators at the water treatment plant in terms of some of the operation and maintenance requirements we need. Turning ourselves a little bit to chemicals, we have two different reports, actually three. One first is our chemical analysis of residual waste. It's known as 26R. This is an annual report that provides a summary and analysis of our waste streams that we generate at our water treatment plant. And then we also have a biannual report, RCRA, which Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. This is a report that's submitted every 2 years to DEP, and it covers reporting of any hazardous waste generation, its management and disposal, primarily associated with chemicals that need disposal from our water treatment plant, but also may include some inventory from various construction projects where we may generate some of this material. And finally, last chemical one here is known as the SARA Tier 2 report. This is an annual report that we actually file with the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry. It provides an inventory of chemical storage volumes and locations throughout our Pittsburgh water facilities. And we also provide this to emergency response teams such as the City of Pittsburgh Fire Bureau so that they're aware of our chemical storage at our facilities if they would need to respond. I'm not going to get any details of these. If you do have questions, though, on any of these reports or the associated programs, I'm certainly happy to provide some of those details or follow up if needed. Last month, I also reported on our participation in our national class action suit with other water utilities and public agencies against the producers of PFAS compounds. And I spoke last month about our associated award from the 3M settlement. This month, I did want to provide you an update that we've also received the first payment of approximately $235,000 associated with the DuPont settlement. So there's one other one associated with Tyco BASF, which still remains outstanding. These funds from that DuPont settlement will be also directed to our Water Quality Technology Fund and set aside so we can associate them with drinking water quality related programs or projects. Finally, here to conclude the report, this month, in November, our laboratory did conduct 2,254 water quality analysis, confirming that we continue to meet and exceed all of our drinking water quality criteria for our customers. Well, last month, producing an average of 62 million gallons per day of drinking water. This concludes my report. As always, if there's questions from the board, you can contact me with any of those regarding our operations or environmental compliance. Thank you.
Questions or comments for Frank?
Frank, this is Peg. Thank you for that report. And I, again, am struck by the depth and the breadth of the reporting that you and your team prepare on behalf of the authority. I wondered if you could speak to the availability of that variety of reports from the agencies you report to, from PWSA, from, where might a consumer find this?
Sure. So most all of those reports, as I mentioned, do go to public agencies, whether it's DEP or ELCASAN, the PA Department of Health and Labor. So those would, I believe, in most cases be considered public information and could be requested either directly or through our right to know requirements. So if there is a question on either the report or the content or the program that backs that up, certainly, you can ask myself or submit it to Pittsburgh Water, and we can evaluate providing that information for sure. Some of that also might be available from the reporting agencies. For instance, DEP has their own method where you can request reports that, have been submitted from any utility or organization that submits the DEP. So there's also opportunities for the public to often request directly from those organizations as well. So.
Thank you.
Michael?
Oh, thanks. Well done. Just maybe an obvious comment. The settlement funds going into the water quality stuff. What needs to be sort of appreciated by that, you only got so much time, you got to pack a lot in, but that will expand the analytical capability at the treatment plant, and actually it not only is it paid for by somebody else, samples won't have to be sent out to contract labs in some cases to more deeply surveil incoming and treated water quality. So it's kind of a big win from a lot of different directions.
Yep. Yeah, right on. And, one of the things we think about are potential emerging contaminants. We're always kind of looking ahead to what might be the next concern. And that's one great opportunity here that we have to utilize that to continue to be, upfront and ahead of the curve in terms of doing some analysis. And some of these funds will allow us to buy the equipment or the specialized testing that's necessary to do some of that monitoring. So.
But we'll still maintain external monitoring just for verification, right?
Sure. So our water treatment plant, we are certified through the State Bureau of Labs as a microbiological lab. So we do our own in-house testing for coliforms and those pieces that are required for compliance. The other compliance testing that we are required to do, a lot of that is performed by third-party labs that provide the accreditation requirements to allow that to be compliance data. But we do a fair amount of that as well in-house that we call process monitoring. So we don't pay for the accreditation from the state for it, but we can still perform the testing to kind of monitor throughout the year, where we're trending for that. So we use a combination of in-house as well as those third-party accredited labs for drinking water testing.
Any other questions or comments? I think I actually had a similar comment that Peg had, and they were all good questions, by the way. Do you have any idea how many reports you file in a month and a year?
I don't. So we do a lot of required inspections as well, which might not be filed, but are required to be held on file in case we're audited or inspected by a regulatory agency. But our team, as you heard, water, waste, different chemical compliances, storage tank inspections, there are hundreds of them, certainly. I can dig that up. I think in the past I've pulled some of those numbers, and perhaps in a future board report I'll be able to provide some of those metrics. So,
I think it's obvious that it's extensively tested and inspected, and your staff writing reports, of course, and Peg's comment about consumers having the ability to get this information. We could get them by request or through some right to know. So I think it's important that the public knows that, and this isn't even counting the tests that you mentioned that are going on daily in terms of water quality. So that congratulations to you and your staff on the accomplishments of keeping us on the good side of all of these standards.
No problem. If I may, just because since you mentioned drinking water, DEP does have a public system. It's called DWRS, the Drinking Water Reporting System. That is a public website that anybody can get to look up water quality information for any utility. You can put in the name in there, and there's a lot of information available through DEP. So we do report monthly our compliance data to DEP, and I think it's around the 15th of the month it gets uploaded to that website, which is available through DEP. So
good.
Yep. Thank you,
Frank. Thank you. All right. Finally, we have the report from the Chief Executive Officer. Will?
Good morning, Chair Shuley, members of the board, members of the public. Hard to believe we sit here rounding out 2025. It has been a tremendous year for, I know, the executive team, but everyone at Pittsburgh Water, including our board and consultants and contractors. We will do a look back on our accomplishments, no doubt, in 2026, but I did want to call attention to some really big movement that we have made. Even as recently, just as yesterday, we filed all of the signatures that were required for Pittsburgh Water to take on ownership to officially have the ownership assigned of our water and sewer systems. So this was a topic that was out in the public for some time this year. This is the logical and anticipated next step of the 30-year lease agreement that the authority struck with the city of Pittsburgh. the next step in the process. There was a council approval. I signed the agreement, the mayor signed the agreement, and now the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission, through their statutory requirement, is going to review that for 30 days. A lot of individuals involved in shepherding this agreement to fruition. I am very grateful for their tenacious ability for us to work through this in collaboration with the city, and really rewarding to get it done right before we ended the year. Frank touched on a lot of the routine things that he and his team are up to from the environmental compliance perspective, but I don't want us to lose sight of the tremendous progress we made in retiring the administrative agreement that we had with the EPA and the Department of Justice related to Clean Water Act violations. We retired that agreement early this year. We also satisfied all the terms of the 2017 consent order and agreement related to lead service line replacement and the lead and copper rule, and that was due to some final steps that we made in optimizing what we call our corrosion control, which is the treatment that we add to reduce the exposure of lead in drinking water at homes that still have lead service lines. Where things stand in our latest regulatory samples is that our lead levels at those homes that still have lead service lines have never been lower, approximately 2 parts per billion at that regulatory limit. And that has been the product of just outstanding work across the board between our water quality team, the consultants that have been advising us over the years, and our ability to just shrink that pool of homes that are still served by lead service lines. Where things stand right now is we've actually surpassed 14,000 public lead service lines replaced since we started our program, which is another big milestone. We're still on track to achieve our goal of replacing all residential lead service lines by 2027. Associated with that work, as Rachel alluded to in her presentation, we have received hundreds of millions of dollars in low interest loans and what we love the most, grants to fund that work. We remain the largest user of the state revolving fund administered through Penvest, which is the state infrastructure bank. And I'm really proud of our team's continued aggressive nature in going after those external sources of funding. Those are dollars we don't need to ask of our ratepayers, and they continue to be available, which is really heartening. I know there was some concern this year with political changes that maybe those dollars wouldn't be available, but at least in the next year, technically this calendar year, we know that those lead service line replacement funding dollars will be available to us, and we're going to continue to go after them. Just yesterday, we celebrated the substantial completion of the Highland Reservoir Pump Station located in Highland Park, right off of Mellon Terrace, a beautiful facility architecturally, but more importantly, an insurance policy and improved service delivery outcome for our customers in 2/3 of our service territory. It is going to reduce the likelihood of low pressure events due to either power outages or large impactful main breaks. It's modern equipment. We walk through it. It looks like nothing else in our system, and it's energy efficient. And we're really excited to get that facility in the hands of our operations group to be able to start using it early next year as we work through permitting and commissioning. So again, my hat's off to everyone involved in that project. It was delivered or will be officially delivered ahead of schedule and under budget, which is a huge accomplishment. So we were very excited to celebrate that. It also just seems like yesterday that we broke ground on what we're calling our ABC project, which is the Aspinwall Pump Station, the Brecken Pump Station, which will be replaced by the Washington Boulevard Pump Station, and Clearwell Bypass Project. Approximately $200 million in required investment that we are kicking off both at the treatment plant and along Washington Boulevard to get those components of the consent decree work taken care of so that we can replace the Clearwell that we have been talking now for many years is our ultimate goal, to replace that 100-plus-year-old facility that has a lot of risk because every drop of our treated drinking water flows through it. Rachel touched on our small diameter water main replacement program. I just do want to call out, nearly 10 miles of new water main and service lines replaced. That is a huge portion of our capital budget that does that double duty of getting the lead out, but then also replacing, again, the pipe that on average is 80 plus years old that are serving our customers. We made huge upgrades in our facilities. We are in the process of moving multiple operations locations to River Avenue to a leased facility for an operational headquarters, and we purchased 3011 Smallman as the future home of our administrative headquarters, the first such purchase in Pittsburgh Water's history, and really excited to get our team in there. It's a facility that they deserve, and that I am convinced will remain a real anchor for that area of Pittsburgh and for us to be able to attract and retain our employees. And then finally, I'll touch on, I know several times over the year, I've talked about our Safe People, Safe Water system, and more importantly, the approach and renewed focus on employee safety that we've been focusing on this year. And while it is, you could argue maybe a little premature, the 6 months since we've implemented that sort of really a framework and an associated system, our incident levels for safety incidents with our employees have never been lower. So I'm told as long as these incidents have been recorded this year, given we have a few days left in the year, so hopefully I don't jinx anything, but we're in terrific shape. And that's been an awesome experience working at all levels of the organization. We can always do better. One employee injury is too many. So we're going to continue that focus into 2027. Just scratching the surface at everything that we have been up to, but it should go without saying, none of it is my personal accomplishments. It's all because of the people in this room and those working at Pittsburgh Water and that do work on our behalf. So I'm really grateful for that and excited for where things are headed in 2026. So that closes out my remarks. Happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Any questions or comments for Will? Well, Will, congratulations on the lead lines. I think we're ahead of schedule in terms of our self-imposed deadlines for getting rid of every lead line, and well ahead of the national requirements for removal of lead. I want to publicly congratulate Danny and Monica for their work on the asset transfer. There was a period there. I wasn't sure we were going to get it done in this calendar year and during my tenure as the chair. And I was thrilled to know that we got it done. We're not completely out of the woods. We still have to get PUC obviously to approve that, but I'm really happy. Thank you for your work. And I also want to thank Jake Pollock publicly for his participation and helping us coordinate with the mayor's office to get that signed yesterday, right? So that was wonderful. And then finally, the pump station dedication and tour, I thought was very well done. Thank you, Rebecca, Julianne, everyone on the staff that participated in that. I thought it was a well-coordinated event, very special day in our Pittsburgh Water legacy, if you will. A funny note that I did invite my children and grandchildren to participate, and after we went and had dinner, and I said to my grandchildren, "What was the most special part of the day for you?" And the youngest grandchild said, "Was walking through the mud and all the puddles." So I said, "Okay, good, mission accomplished." So I moved on. All right, very good. Thank you all for those comments. We have a long agenda of resolutions. We start with resolution number 100 of 2025. Mr. William B.J. McFadden.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Resolution number 100. Approving the award of water and sewer inventory supplies to Bingham and Taylor Corporation, EJUSA, Ferguson Waterworks, LB Water Services, and Citgo Water. This is out of the operating budget, and it's not to exceed $14,331,467.83.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
For a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All of these vendors, BJ, we worked with all of these vendors previously?
Yes. Yeah, I don't believe there's any new ones.
Okay, very good. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of resolution 100, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, resolution number 100 is approved. We move to resolution 101. Mr. Barca.
Resolution 101 of 2025, approving a resolution to borrow from the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority for the 2025B Neighborhood Lead Service Line project. Just to give a brief background on what this is, the total amount that's being authorized to borrow is $27,737,241. And of that, 11.3 approximately is a low interest loan from Penvest. 14.2 is a grant from Penvest, and Pittsburgh Water will be covering 2.2 million of the project, and that's associated with paving work that Penvest will not reimburse. And the last thing that I'll note of this specific project, about 578 public lead service lines and 1,073 private lead service lines will be replaced.
Very good. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 101, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution number 101 is approved. We move to resolution 102.
Resolution 102 of 2025, approving a reimbursement resolution for the 2025B Neighborhood Lead Service Line Replacement Project as required by the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority in the total amount of $27,737,241. And just to give a brief background on what this resolution is, Penvest requires that we, as an entity, approve a resolution that states that we use our own funds to interim fund the project prior to reimbursing or submitting a reimbursement to Penvest for those funds. And that's very typical of what we've done to Penvest to date, and we're going to continue that effort here.
Very good. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Ed, I just want to acknowledge that it seems each time you come before the board, you bring us more information about Penvest's engagement and other funding sources. So thank you for that, and job well done.
Thanks, Peg.
Any other comments?
Just one, Ed, point of clarification. Is this always the procedure that Penvest funds on a reimbursement basis?
Correct. Yeah. So for each loan that we are awarded, we'll follow a similar process, and they require the same resolution per each loan.
And then maybe that duration between the expense being incurred and then the reimbursement, how long does that usually take?
Yeah, a great question. The Penvest's credit, they are very quick with that turnaround. We typically submit monthly reimbursements to Penvest. Within, I'd say, 3 to 4 weeks thereafter, we receive the funds from Penvest. So it's a very quick turnaround, which helps our cash flow.
Okay, thanks.
Good question. Any others? All those in favor of resolution number 102, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, resolution 102 is approved. We move to resolution 103.
Resolution 103 of 2025, authorizing the financial assistance application to the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority for the small and large diameter sewer rehabilitation projects and an amount not to exceed $53,895,600. And just to give a brief background on this one, this specific application will fund our 2025 through 2027 small and large sewer programs for that duration.
Very good. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution 103, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution 103 is approved. We move to resolution 104.
Resolution 104 of 2025, authorizing the financial assistance application to the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority for the 2025 small diameter water main replacement project and an amount not to exceed $25,500,000. And this specific project or this application we're putting forth will fund about 5 miles of new small water diameter mains in our system.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a quick question. And at this stage of the process, do you have a sense of what the breakout between what would be loan and what would be grant?
Not specifically. However, the historical, I guess, awards we received is a small portion is grant. So, in this specific application, maybe $1 million or $2 million is grant, and the remaining is a low interest loan at 1%, which is still fantastic.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
And this resolution here is related. Is that related directly to Rachel's briefing earlier?
Part of it, yeah, part of the programs. There's a number of contracts, so it gets a little confusing, but yes, it is related partly to that. Yes.
Okay.
Well, since this is, I think, the last resolution regarding Penvest for 2025, do you have any idea what we received in 2025 from Penvest?
2025 specifically, I'd have to get you those figures, but overall, we received since 2018 about $800 million in low interest loans and about $110 million in grants. A large portion of the grants is obviously related to our lead service line program. Penvest has been a good partner there. And then the low interest loans are really kind of everything else. We've got some security upgrades, our sewer programs, water mains, you name it. So, yeah.
Well, that's an incredible figure. Obviously, we had speakers today talk about, outside resources of financing and those are impressive figures. Obviously, really important priorities, like all of our priorities that we have on the table here. So congratulations, Ed, to your team, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All those in favor of Resolution 104, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, Resolution 104 is approved. Move to Resolution 105.
Resolution 105 of 2025, acknowledging receipt of the fiscal year 2025 annual report of the consulting engineer. And just to give a quick update here on what this resolution authorization is requesting, our bond indenture requires that we bring in an external third-party consulting engineering firm to do a broad assessment of our system to make sure that our capital program and our operating budget and other functions of the organization are moving us forward to renewing and restoring our system as a whole. The report is going to be posted publicly no later than, I'd say, the first or second week of January, and the prior reports are also on our website if the public wants to view those. For 2025 specifically, the report acknowledges a lot of what we've seen over the past couple of years is that, obviously we have a lot of work that we need to do, but when you talk about lead and other projects that Will highlighted in his report, the authority is moving forward in a manner to address those issues over time.
Very good. May I have a motion? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah. I know you're not an engineer, but
I'll try.
throw it in the room. It was a good report.
Yep.
I was able to, compare to prior years where things like satisfactory, but could be more even filter performance was called out.
Yep.
So the comment is 26 and onwards going to be a little different. It's not like how good are you running? It's like you got all this stuff going on around where you are running. So to get our money's worth out of the next few reports, to the extent they could be engaged in some risk analysis and thoughts considering alternatives provided to the authority from contractors, it might be a little bit of a game change going forward. So
that's great. No, I'll take that back for sure and discuss.
Yeah, I was going to ask a related question about the content of the report and how much of that is the specific line items that they're discussing. Is that dictated by the bond agreement or?
Not necessarily. So the bond agreement just generally states that we need to have an external party, review our budgets and other functions to making sure that it really, at the end of the day, our bondholders are secure, right? That we have a system that's functional and that we can obtain revenue from to then pay back the bondholders. Mm-hmm. But as part of that, right, we need to make sure that what we put forth is renewing our system. So broadly through the report, it has like a funding aspect that goes over all of our funding, over a historical look back. It has our bond issuances. It goes through just the staffing of the organization. It has a breakdown of both our capital and operating budgets, and it links those overall figures to specific projects there within. that highlights and addresses a lot of the items that we already have discussed, right? But it's in there for the public to see. So to Mike's point, it's a very detailed report, and I do think they did a good job this year.
Yeah, I think to second what Mike said about like having a any discussion on risk analysis. The other thing I was thinking about is consideration on kind of a retrospective on budget versus actual, that sort of thing. Could be an interesting one for them to dig into.
Sure, make a note of that.
Go ahead, Jordan.
Thanks. Yeah. As a new board member, I read the report with keen interest and learned a lot through there. But one thing I noted, there's a stormwater section, and I know we got some public comment earlier on that topic. And there's a line in the report that says that basically the Pittsburgh Water's financial status may limit or postpone the development of a system-wide stormwater management plan. And that caught my eye, not because of the capital investments per se, but actually the development of a plan. And I kind of scratched my head. So it's a little bit of a comment, but also a question, perhaps not for you, Ed, is why would that actually like limit our development, the ability to move forward with the planning side on stormwater management?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak broadly to that. I mean, I think when you talk about planning, it's dollars put forth for planning. So we have a number of plans already outstanding, and there's a lot of coordination with the city of Pittsburgh. But I think to your specific comment, I think that's the report's alluding to, is where are we going to find the dollars for those planning efforts? And so that I think was very specific to that, but doesn't discount what you're saying at all, right? I think there needs to be a focus there to some degree.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe how I read it as well. But we are making these historic and unprecedented capital investments and have moved forward in the process from planning to design to actual construction. But it seems to me that thinking about the planning more holistically and putting some resources towards that maybe don't match the capital scale and what we're doing on the drinking water side, but would be a reasonable step forward as we think and move towards stormwater as a priority.
And that could be an area for us to explore, again, not for you, this our conversation, for us to explore jointly with the city as we think about hazard mitigation and stormwater, broader. What is our relationship to the larger planning efforts?
Very good. Any other comments? All those in favor of resolution 105, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? I'm going to abstain from resolution 105 because I'm in agreement with the consulting engineer on matters outside of Pittsburgh Water. I believe we have enough votes to approve 105, so that moved forward. Resolution 106, Ed.
Resolution 106 of 2025, approving the award of insurance contracts for fiscal year 2026 in an amount not to exceed $1.4 million. And I'm sure you read it through the resolution details, but this covers our auto insurance, property insurance, cyber insurance. It's a whole suite of necessary insurance coverage that we need for an organization our size.
Very good. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Is this in line with previous years, or how big of an increase are we seeing given inflation and everything else?
It's every year's a little bit different. Last year we saw a pretty high increase on the cyber insurance that is levelized. For this year, our property insurance continues to increase, and that's just a factor of the broader market. We're seeing that, in other utilities as well that I speak to. It's just kind of the unfortunate market that we're in there. I will say the one area that will probably continue to increase over time is our workers' comp insurance as we add more folks here at Pittsburgh Water, continue to round out operations. That's one of the areas just due to in additional employees that you'll see an increase year over year as just a result of that. But overall, we really do have still competitive rates. That's one of the things I look at is, the market may be hardening, but, across the board, how do we still stack up with other entities and what do those rates look like? So I can report back to the board that while it is nothing to sneeze at 1.4 million, our rates overall for each coverage or each policy is very competitive.
Very good. All those in favor of resolution 106, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, resolution number 106 is approved. We move to resolution 107.
Resolution 107 of 2025, approving and adopting the 2026 operating budget And I will note, similar to the consulting engineers report, both the 2026 operating budget, which is this resolution, and the next, which we'll discuss, is the capital improvement plan, will be posted on our website again no later than the first or second week of January. So it's available to the public. For this resolution specifically, I'm referring to the 2026 operating budget. I just want to note for the board that, this is an organizational effort that started back in July. It's a typical process for us to engage all department directors. We bring in HR for staffing needs. The board's engaged through a board education session prior to this vote. So it is a very comprehensive effort. I will say for this budget specifically, one of the areas that there was an opportunity for us was figuring out what our revenues would be, given that we had a pending PUC rate case. We have such a settlement now, which is not final, but we feel that we're in a good position there, hopefully for some good news in February. But just know broadly, we cast a wide net to make sure we receive as much feedback as we can and incorporate that into the budget in a fiscal manner.
All right. Thank you very much. May I have a motion? So do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Well, I got a brief one.
Mhm.
26, there'll be sort of like elevated interest and activity in restoration driven by residents, ratepayers, and potentially other stakeholders here. So in accordance to that, a suggestion is to Rachel has fairly regularly provided us pretty good briefings on restoration and backlogs and things like that. I'm wondering if we could kind of more regularize that, if that's a word, and maybe even include a small report each month on how that activity's faring.
Yep. Yeah, we could certainly do that. We continue to refine our engagement across the organization of the status of paving, and monthly status updates internally are occurring. So we can incorporate that, to your point, Mike, on, just reporting that to the board.
Thanks.
Megan, you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the new revenue new sources from Penvest.
Sure.
Yep.
So as part of the rate case settlement that, again, is pending final PUC approval, within that is a Penvest charge that will be on customers' bills if approved. And what that charge is it's specific to pay for Penvest debt service only. So when we charge those revenues and move forward with that, there's a reconciliation effort that happens at the end of the year. Whereas we look to see what we charge customers, we looked at the debt service that we paid, and if we collected more than we paid, there's a refund process that customers will receive, or a credit process. So you could think of it really as a standalone debt service charge for Penvest only. That's only used for capital projects, and that's regulated by the PUC. And there's really no other means of which we can use those revenue sources. But this is a great point, because that's a very large revenue source that you'll see in 26 and forward as well, as we continue to ramp up efforts on our capital program.
And so that revenue source will be based on actuals for the debt service. Okay, great.
Correct. Yes.
Yep.
Go ahead, Erica.
Thank you. Well, so I think this applies to both this resolution and the next one. And what I understand and what we've heard again today publicly is there are constraints that impact the timing of publicly available final budget release, right? Penvest rate case closing, which really just was announced recently, like within the last couple of days, and Penvest loans and grants, and there are other factors there. That said, as we heard today, there is significant interest, and there are members of the public who follow this, because whether it's because of capital projects or it's because of specific issues. And so feel free to comment or not as to whether there are other constraints that kind of haven't been daylighted here just in today's meeting. But we're so good about going out into the public when we're discussing whether it's because of PUC mandated, public engagement, or whether it's because of capital projects that we wish to update the public on, or just kind of general engagement. We're in the public. We're meeting with the public all the time. I'd be really interested in finding a way, even within the constraints that sort of bind us, being a regulated utility, to find a way to have conversations as with the public that demonstrate as realistic a picture as we think the budget will be by the time we get to December. Earlier on, and there's work that goes on starting in July. Is there, and I guess I'm just asking rhetorically, and if you have an answer, great. If not, like, let's just continue the conversation. But is there a way to start engaging the public earlier to understand what the ramifications might be of what we're considering?
Yeah.
Because there's clearly interest for good reason, right? This is our water source, and these are projects that impact neighborhoods.
Yeah. No, I would comment to say I think there is an opportunity. One of the areas that I've been thinking about for a number of years of to continue to build out our budget team is perhaps to be partnering with the city of Pittsburgh, because I know they do some public outreach for their budgeting depending on the phases that they're in, or at least they have in the past, right? So look to kind of use that as a leverage to get out into the city and to really discuss what we're doing. But even in a broader effort, I think there's an opportunity there that we can then take back and analyze, and we'll follow up with the board and on next steps.
Yeah, and again, not apples to apples comparison, because the city isn't a publicly regulated utility. But we always talk about at the city, just wearing my city council hat for a second, like it's a conversation with the public, right? It's not just a document that you present and hear feedback, but that's it. Like, it's an ever evolving document that should be evolving at all times. And so would be an interesting exercise to start that early on, even prior to the development of the budget, to solicit that feedback and then have that be part of the crafting of the budget prior to July, if that is legal within the bounds of our regulated utility. So I'd like to see that happen.
Sure.
Thank you, Erica. Where does this 26 budget compare to last year's budget, operating budget?
As far as the overall figures?
Yes.
Check the exact amounts here. So our projection and I'm speaking 2025, so our projection of revenues is about $247 million. For the budget for 2026 is $281 million. So you'll see a large increase there. Again, a lot of that's tied to the rate case that we spoke about. The biggest piece of those revenues, though, is the PennVest surcharge. And then on our direct operating expenses, which are departmental expenses, for fiscal year 2025, about $145 million is the projection. And then for our budgeted numbers for 2026 is $170 million. That's a substantial increase, but Mike alluded to it, a large portion of that is tied to, taking care of the backlogs that we have outstanding for our service restoration work. We had an opportunity in 2026 to really tackle most of that. We wanted to leverage that opportunity to take care of that. So in 2027, we have a cleaner slate, if you will, to tackle other issues. On the debt service side, about $88.9 million is projected for 2025, and our budgeted figures for 2026 are $104.3 million. There's a couple of different issuances going on there. You have additional PennVest loans coming online. You have a new issuance plan for early 2026, and then there's some other ancillary costs given our debt portfolio that increase next year as well that are incorporated into that. And then if you take a look at our overall expenses, and that includes the direct operating, debt service, any potential transfer to reserves, it encompasses everything. Those figures for 2025 are $235.6 million. And then our budgeted figures for 2026 are $276.8 million. So again, you're seeing that increase in revenues tied to the rate case. The increase in expenses, again, the biggest is really debt service and paving. Everything else is just that steady increase for cost of, just for inflationary reasons and cost of living increases, for employees.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Ed. Thanks for that summary.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of resolution number, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, resolution 107 is approved. We move to resolution 108.
All right, resolution 108, and my last for the year. So
Yeah,
strong.
All right, Ed.
Resolution 108 of 2025, approving and adopting the 2026 through 2030 capital improvement plan. Again, I'll reiterate, this will be publicly available on our website here no later than the first or second week of January. Within that plan, you'll see approximately $1.2 billion of improvements, which is a slight increase over our current capital improvement plan.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I think I have a comment and something to bring forth here that I think builds on what Erica discussed earlier. So as noted, comment related to stormwater investments, and I understand that this is a list of projects that have gone through a long process to get onto this list and make it in. And that unprecedented investment also entails so many things that we are required to do by consent order, right? There's so many things in that queue that are, again, historical investments, but also things we really need to do to ensure safe and reliable drinking water. But I do think stormwater is also still a priority. And there's I think a couple practical things that I'd be looking for. One is it'd be nice as a board to get an update on some of the priority actions identified in the stormwater strategic plan, which was finalized at the end of 23. So I think we're probably due for an update to see where we are in implementing those initial actions. And then building on my earlier comments, I do think having an idea of timeline or what we're looking at to actually move from that high level strategic plan to more of a management plan that starts to identify projects, it would be good to get an update for this board on what that timeline would be.
And I'll just add to, separate from the board, as part of a rate case settlement, there's requirements for public outreach on updates to our stormwater program as a whole in different priority areas. So, we could certainly couple, any updates with those public outreach events as well. But I just wanted to notate that for the record, that is a requirement of the rate case.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Any comments? Well, I just want to take the opportunity to just say I'm so happy that Jordan and Megan are on our board. They bring a whole fresh outlook here in terms of the many things that we have before us. And Jordan, with your background, I'll be really looking forward to hearing your input, because as one of the speakers had said, this is a very complex issue. You have literally hundreds of stormwater projects that are in play. We have all the work that Alcosan is doing. We don't want the ratepayers to be paying twice for the same amount of work. So we do have to have a certain amount of assurances that the work that will be done over the next 10 years will address some of these issues, and that we don't have to do another project that basically charges the ratepayers twice for the same amount of work. And then on top of that, we have the complexity of the consent order, which is regulatory driven, and which is a whole new process in itself. And as you know, it took more than a decade to go through the consent order for Alcosan. And I'm sure it's going to take a long time for us to reach our consent order, but it's a very complex issue. And I just want to assure the public that stormwater is a priority of Pittsburgh Water, that we will continue to prioritize stormwater in the future, but it's complicated. It's complicated. And with you on the board, and Megan, and of course, Erica, and everyone else who's participated in these stormwater meetings, I am confident that we will come to the right solution of the mix that we need to have to adequately address stormwater for the residents and ratepayers of the city of Pittsburgh. All right. All those in favor of resolution 108, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you.
Oh, wait. All right. Resolution 109, Mr. Will Pickering.
Yeah, these are my first of the year presenting, and
right.
my last as well. Departure from the norm. Resolution 109 is authorizing me as Chief Executive Officer to execute a new cooperation agreement with the City of Pittsburgh. This is going to allow, as a sort of context, there is an existing cooperation agreement between Pittsburgh Water and the City of Pittsburgh that came about 5 years ago and really formalized the business relationship between the two entities prior to Public Utility Commission regulation or thereabouts. So this is allowing me to re-enter into negotiations with the city, in all likelihood, the new mayoral administration, to update that agreement to reflect current state.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Will, would you like to kind of articulate the differences between, we talked earlier about the asset transfer and now we have a co-op agreement. So, what are the differences?
Sure. So the asset transfer spoke to the physical structure, our water and sewer system, the real property that was leased by the authority and is now owned. What the cooperation agreement really boils down to is shared services and who pays for what at what level. At the time of the agreement 5 years ago, the central point of discussion, the city had, prior to Public Utility Commission regulation, had received free water services. Also, Pittsburgh Water sent a payment to the city for undisclosed services, but there were services provided by the city at no cost to the authority, such as permit fees and the like. So that initial agreement set a path to get the city of Pittsburgh to the normal non-residential rate for water and sewer services, having all of their facilities metered. Pittsburgh Water employees, many of us are grandfathered into the city's pension, so we contribute financial amounts to cover that. So those are some of the topics that are covered in the current cooperation agreement. And as I said, the idea is for this new one just to reflect more current state.
Does that agreement also include some provisions for stormwater management?
It does. The existing agreement speaks to a responsibility for stormwater management in city parks of a certain size. And so that we have taken on in the last 5 years, we have televised the sewer systems in those large parks, and we have assisted the city with regulatory compliance along those lines.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Jordan?
Just maybe a quick one to build on that, Will, what you just said. Do you see any expansion in terms of thinking about this agreement with the city and particularly related to stormwater? Alex mentioned this before, but stormwater in some ways is everyone's problem, right? And it's an issue that Pittsburgh Water has taken a real lead on, but that it's also shared by so many other entities within the city. So beyond the parks and what you just discussed, do you see other domains in which this agreement could start to address that in the renegotiation?
That is my expectation. And in one service that doesn't get a lot of attention, that there is a cost sharing component, is that the city provides street sweeping. And that is a regulatory obligation. And so we do provide financial resources to them for that, especially within our separated sewer system. So those are the flavors of things we're going to be discussing with the new administration.
It's very helpful. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of resolution 109, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, resolution 109 is approved. We move to resolution 110. Now your second resolution.
It is. Resolution 110 is appointing the ethics officer for Pittsburgh Water. So we are requesting board approval of Monica Whalen, our chief legal officer, to replace Frank Sideri and act as the ethics officer for Pittsburgh Water.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. For a second?
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Well, the only thing I can think of is, Frank, what are you going to do in your free time? You just have a few more reports to do, I think, right? All right. Very good. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of resolution 110, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, resolution 110 is approved. We move to resolution 111. Rachel.
All right, resolution 111, approving the award of a capital contract for construction of the 2026 small diameter sewer rehabilitation IDIQ, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, contract to In Situ Form Technologies, capital budget $2,516,440.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of Resolution 111, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, Resolution 111 is approved. 112, Rachel.
Resolution 112, authorizing continued discussions and negotiations with representatives from Alcoasand for the potential transfer of sewer assets. This resolution authorizes our staff to continue discussions and negotiations regarding the potential transfer of certain trunk conveyance sewer assets, and this process is generally known as regionalization. Alcoasand does require this resolution in order for us to continue these discussions. And the purpose of them is to evaluate the financial implications of this potential transfer, including identifying associated costs, benefits, and long-term operational impacts. And generally, the transfer of these selected sewer assets from Pittsburgh Water to Alcoasand would assist Alcoasand in its regionalization efforts and may enhance the overall regional mitigation of combined sewer overflows.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm just curious whether at this stage, Rachel, or I don't know the last time I've seen this, if there's like a list of those assets that are under negotiation, if like the last time that's been made available either to the board or public at large.
There is a list, yes.
Okay.
Certainly, we can update you on that.
Okay, great.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Is there a timeline for the desired conclusion of these negotiations with them?
So Alcoasand is, as you may know, in this process, not just with us, but with all of the municipalities and authorities that send sewage to them, and they're making good progress. So we're just part of that overall process. I think both parties are committed to working through this as expeditiously as possible. And it's taking a little bit of time. I'm not sure that we have a defined time, deadline set, but I can check on that and see.
And maybe Rachel, to add, like in terms of timeline, also thinking about prioritization, if you could maybe talk in general terms about the factors that go in when considering prioritization on the potential assets on that list.
Certainly. Yeah, we can update the board on that.
Well, I think, Rachel, this is long before your tenure here, but this is one of the disappointments that I have that we haven't been able to get this done. But again, it's one of these issues that involves quite a bit. And just for the public's knowledge, I mean, we are talking about trunk sewers that are 10 inches or more in diameter. So these are very large sewer lines. And I believe we're talking up to 100 miles or maybe more of sewer trunk lines. And so these aren't easy assets to transfer. And as we transfer them, we normally have to transfer them in good working conditions. So that puts a lot more stress on us to make sure that they're cleaned and repaired. And we need consulting engineers' reports. I know this has taken a long time, but I'm hoping we get this done in 2026. I think it's important for both Alcoasand, Pittsburgh Water, and our collective ratepayers to know that Alcoasand, which is obviously in a very good position to address these lines going forward, and this was something that was committed to several years ago, and it's important that we get it done. So I'm hoping that we'll make that commitment to get it done in 2026.
Yeah, certainly. I think 2026 is hopefully feasible. I agree with you. And to your point, a lot of the discussions are related to the condition of the assets and making sure that we're all on the same page as to how those get transferred and the condition they're in and the costs associated with potentially upgrading them and who's responsible for that. And so that's what these discussions are about.
Very good. All those in favor of Resolution 112, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution 112 is approved. We move to 113.
Resolution 113, approving the award of a capital contract for construction of the 2024 large diameter sewer rehabilitation project to National Gunite Capital budget, $1,478,209.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Well, I see that this includes a location in Frick Park under the newly constructed Fern Hollow Bridge. And being that the bridge was recently reconstructed, the area underneath the bridge was also recently reconstructed. And I just had a question as to how much that would impact that, the trail portion. And I'm familiar that there are lines that run through to houses, close to houses up the slopes, but I was just curious about the staging area around that.
I will have to, yes, we have had discussions about the fact that this was recently, the bridge recently was redone. And those details are escaping me. So I'll have to get back to you and I can report back on that at next month's meeting.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Sure. I had the exact same question, but I will add on to that question too, which is given the sensitivities around that site in particular and the recent remediation, I'm just curious also like in terms of stakeholder engagement during the process, either whether that's happened, that is happening, or will happen prior to construction.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, all those in favor of resolution 113, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, resolution 113 is approved. We move to resolution 114.
Resolution 114, approving the award of a capital contract for the construction of the 2025 valve replacement contract to Mealy & Sons. Capital budget, $2,329,325.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Was there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution 114, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, resolution 114 is approved. We move to 115.
Resolution 115, approving a change order for construction of the Highland Reservoir Pump Station Project HVAC to Huranic Corporation. Capital budget, $134,169.56. So this requested change order incorporates some changes to design and material revisions for the venting system on some HVAC units called makeup air units based on the review and revisions that were required. So some separation of vents and changes of materials. And this is something that was identified during construction that needed to be changed.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. A second? Erica seconded. Any discussion? I believe on the tour yesterday that Mario pointed that out and also made comments about why the change was needed. So thank you very much for that.
I'll let him know.
Will any of the change order have an impact on when the operations of the facility will start?
No. Lots of moving pieces, but we're still looking at starting up here pretty soon. We're in the process of commissioning, disinfecting lines and moving forward on all that. So lots of things moving in parallel.
Thanks.
All those in favor of resolution 115, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution 115 is approved. Resolution 116.
Resolution 116, approving a change order for additional slope monitoring and slide repair design for the Highland No. 2 Reservoir Dam Permitting and Slope Stability Project to Arcadis US. Capital budget, $124,000. So as a refresher, this project overall is designing the slope repairs and rehabilitation required of this reservoir, which is considered a high hazard dam. And so the reason for this change order is because we have identified some minor slides that have occurred along the slopes of that dam. And in parallel with the design of the overall project, the larger project, we do need to keep an eye on these slides. So this change order includes monitoring of the slides as well as potential design of their rehabilitation if we deem that to be necessary prior to the larger project occurring several years from now.
All right, thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'm kind of fixated on this site. It's gonna become important going forward with some of the ABC project, Clearwell wise. Just so I'm clear, we're talking about the slope that descends and goes into the education center parking lot on the zoo side, or am I wrong?
So at least one, if not both of these slides are on the northwest side. So if you go past our new Highland pump station and kind of turn right, there's that access road. It's along that slope
Okay,
back
so
there, which I
basically
think
the
is
pump station on the right.
I'm not facing the pump station, but kind of around the corner. I think
Okay.
I think it's northwest.
Now that wall has an S shape to it. There's convex and concave stuff. So there's different stress pressure distributions in there. Which part of that is starting to slide?
That I'm not sure. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, because I was sort of taking a look at it. So
Yeah, I can send you a map of where where these slides are. And share that next month at the board meeting if we
all you got to do is send the picture with an X on it.
Sure. So,
Google Earth X slide. Well, it didn't look serious. But I'm just kind of curious about this. But
Yeah,
that place is kind of keeps popping up a little bit.
Yeah, one of them was fairly new, and one of them we discovered it and feel that it had probably happened not recently. We're not sure exactly when, but not super serious, but something we just want to make sure that we're keeping.
Well, a little loop road around there is kind of close to that edge too.
Yeah.
Teeters to that edge. Thanks.
So this is a slide. You're not witnessing any seepage, right? This is a movement of soil for the most part.
There is. I mean, there is some minor seepage occurring in general on these slopes, not associated with these slides that are covered by this change order. But.
Okay. All right. Echo Mike's comments. Obviously, with everything else we have going, we have to ensure the integrity of the reservoir.
Absolutely.
Any other questions, comments? All those in favor of resolution 116, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution 116 is approved. We get to the final resolution of 2025, 117.
All right, last one, 117. Approving entering into an agreement to develop a public railroad crossing on Lockway West with the Allegheny Valley Railroad Company, or AVRR, for the Aspenwall Pump Station, Brecken Pump Station, and Clearwell Bypass, aka ABC project. So this agreement will allow the construction of the Lockway West Railroad crossing improvements. And this also authorizes the chief executive officer to improve reimbursing the railroad, AVRR, for 100% of the costs of the same. Improvements will provide greater safety at that crossing, including but not limited to the installation of safety arms and lights. This agreement is a required step in facilitating access to the Lockway West Railroad crossing throughout the construction of our new Washington Boulevard pump station to replace the Brecken pump station under the ABC project. And this agreement is critical to maintaining our project timelines and ensuring safe and coordinated access to the construction site. Also, in response to our comments, public comments received earlier, we can clarify that this railroad crossing does have a limited scope, as I mentioned earlier, and the purpose of it is to improve the safety of the crossing with those arms and lights. There would not be an opportunity just as part of that limited scope to improve riverfront access for recreation or trail connections. And also note that this planned railroad crossing upgrade is at grade, while the trail in this location that was mentioned in the public comments is aerial above it via a bridge. And also regarding the Brecken pump station and the process for those did include all the appropriate public comment periods. We will be responding back to the written comments in writing, and we're happy to meet with these folks to talk about this further and explain, what exactly we're doing, so we all have an understanding.
Very good. Thank you. May I have a motion?
So
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of resolution 117, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? All right, resolution 117 is approved. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Do we have any other business to come before the authority this morning? We're getting into this afternoon, right? Yeah, we're in this afternoon. Well, on behalf of the board, I'd like to thank Pittsburgh Water leadership team, our staff, contractors, vendors, everyone that's associated with the work that's been done here at Pittsburgh Water. Happy holidays to everyone and a healthy and prosperous new year. We had a long agenda today, and I think it kind of typifies the fact that we have a lot of work. We have a lot of challenges. We have a lot of opportunities as well. And personally, I'm very proud of the work that that Pittsburgh Water has done in 2025 and in previous years. We look forward to the work that we'll see accomplished and completed in 2026. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Thank you. Second?
Second.
Meeting is adjourned.